Congratulations on Standing Room Only coming out. I've had the good fortune to preview it. So I actually, one of the songs that stood out to me was Nashville, California, LA, Tennessee. I like it, obviously, because I love both those cities. I'm from LA, I've spent time in Nashville, but also it reunites you with Lori McKenna.
Yes.
Who wrote Humble and Kind, which is a song I just mentioned. Had you worked together since Humble and Kind, or was this a reunion since then?
We've written together for years.
Okay.
And this song in particular is pretty special to me as well. This song came out of when my daughter loading all of her stuff in, and her and I doing a solo cross-country trip together.
Really?
To take her to LA, to move her to LA.
She lives here now?
She doesn't live here now, but she lived here for a while. And we had a great time on the trip, singing songs and playing music and stopping at cool places and spending time together. And then when I got here, it was late at night, and she was so ready to be here and so ready to get rid of Dad by that point that, unloaded all the stuff to where she was living, and she was like, "All right, Dad, I'm fine now, you can go." And I'm like, I kept lingering around, kept trying to move things around, trying to keep as much time with her as I could. And she finally gave me a big hug and says, "Okay, Dad, I need you to go now." And then I just broke down and just started crying.
Aww.
And so that song was born out of that road trip. So we started writing that song, and then Lori continued writing the song with us. So we all three wrote that together, and it was loosely based on my road trip with Gracie.
So there's another song on Standing Room Only called Some Songs Can Change Your World.
Yes.
Which is more on talking about the interpersonal, the personal level of how a song can change as opposed to the world in general.
Right.
What is the song that has changed your world?
Oh, It's Your Love. It's Your Love, because it was the very first song that Faith and I ever did together. And we were
So it was one of your own,
very early in our relationship, and it was just something that really just brought us together in a way that I don't know what else could have. And then I remember shooting the video, and we shot it here in LA, and Faith being pregnant with Gracie. And that was just such a special time and a special moment, the beginning of a long relationship, and I always look back on that as something that not only changed my musical world, but it changed my life.
Amazing. Since you mentioned Faith, and you have one of, you're like the it couple, power couple, beloved couple, not even just in country music, but in show business, especially since it's been such a long running and, happy marriage, which unfortunately is a rarity.
And we always like to say we're like been married 92 years in showbiz language.
And showbiz years is like dog years.
Yeah, it's like dog years, yeah.
But that reminds me of another song on the new album called Hey Whiskey, because, you've famously, openly talked about how she helped you get sober in 2008. And, the song Hey Whiskey is not like, hey, whiskey, yay. It's a song about regret. And so I'm wondering, how you tapped into your personal experiences with sobriety to make that song come to life.
Yeah, I mean, it was very personal to me, and it was a very emotional song and a very honest song. It's not a linear path, there's setbacks, and there's times you move forward and do great, and there's times you set back, and that'll probably be a process throughout the rest of my life, and something that I have to be vigilant about and really continue to work at. And that song, I think, is helpful in that regard. It was very cathartic to me in a lot of ways.
You mentioned, you have talked about like how Faith, who's been by your side all this time, has been your rock, basically.
She's always been my rock. She's my rock in everything that I do. I mean, I can't imagine, I don't think I could stand up straight without leaning on her in everything that I do.
Are you guys empty nesters now that Gracie's had
We are. Our youngest is back and forth. She's all over the place. For the first 6 months, it was pretty tough because, it was empty and the energy of the house was sort of gone. And then after about 6 months, we sort of thought, when we got married, we had a kid right away. We had Gracie right away. And now we kind of have our time to ourselves. And it's like, it's kind of honeymoon time again. So we quite enjoyed it. Yeah.
92 more showbiz
92 more years, I'll take it.
Well, no, I have one random last question to ask you in the 2 minutes we have left.
Okay.
It's about Taylor Swift.
All right, yeah.
Have you talked to her lately? Because it's, as we see the huge career she's, on now with the Eras Tour and stuff, sometimes we forget that the very first song she ever had was a song with your name in it.
I know, how about that?
It's kind of crazy.
That makes me pretty proud. I like that, yeah. At first, I didn't, when she first came out with it, I thought, have I gotten that old that now that these new artists are singing songs with my name in it? But I'm so happy for her, and we knew right away that she was a huge talent. She's one of the greatest songwriters ever. She just really knows how to tap into to the people who listen to her music. She knows exactly what she's doing, and she's so good at it, and she's such a sweet person. And yeah, I get to talk to her every now and then. And I saw her show in Nashville and was blown away. She's just an incredible entertainer, incredible artist. And I think she's one of the best of our time.
So which artist is your Tim McGraw? Because that song was, you know, her boyfriend saying, when you think of this artist, Tim McGraw, you will think of me. For like you and Faith, who's your artist that you think of?
Well, there's one song, and it's really an instrumental, but there's one, I'm probably going to get in trouble for saying this. God, please forgive me, baby. Samba Pati by Santana.
Okay.
It's kind of our song. My uncle told me one time, my Uncle Hank, old hippie, lives in Napa Valley. He said, you know, he played it for me one time years ago on the road. He loved that song too. He said, I'm going to tell you something. He says, never make love to a woman with this song on unless you intend to marry her. And so I didn't until I did, and then I did.
I feel that's a perfect note to end things on because I'm speechless. I'm sure Faith will forgive you. But yeah, pro tip, if you want to romance a woman, put Santana on the turntable.